Hi everyone. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. All right. So, as I said before, my schedule is going to be slightly different today. I'm going to talk about the Karen Reed Daubert hearing first, and then I'm going to talk about everything else after that. Okay. All right. So we started at after 9 a.m. actually, and they focused on one person, Dr. Marie Russell, the dog bite expert, and she's been on the stand for 5 hours at this point, and I think they have proven their point. Um, okay, so the prosecutor for the Commonwealth, I don't like. Um, and to be honest, I didn't like the prosecutor last time either, but I like this prosecutor even less than him because there's a way to do your job and not look like you just want to get somebody. And he gives me that impression that he wants to throw anybody under the bus to prove his point. And I say you don't have to do that. Um, but again, that's just my opinion. All right. So, of course, he gets the first chance. And he says, well, in the trial, you said that you weren't sure if it was a dog bite or a scratch, or you weren't sure what caused it, which means it could have been caused by a car, right? And she's like, no. And she stuck up for herself a couple times. Well, more than a couple times. Because she would say, no, I didn't say that. Or, yeah, I said it, but you have to say it in context of the whole thing. So, because he tried to get her to say that certain things occurred and it wasn't her specialty. Like uh, when he said, "Well, do you know how exactly the accident happened and that it wasn't from an accident?" And she would say, "No, I don't know, but it's consistent with a dog bite or dog scratch." And he's like, "But you're not sure, right?" I'm like, "Oh, come on." I wanted to throw something at him and say, "Dude, this woman has more experience than you have life." Okay? But, okay. So, I suffer through about 3 hours of that. Then they have the, you know, defense attorney time to rebut all the stuff or, you know, explain why she said what she said. Okay, so she says, oh, and he got hung up on, well, if is there a standard? Do you have a standard? And he wanted some name of some standard as to why she said that about dog bites. And she said, there is no, there isn't one. He says, well, okay, well, then that means that you can't say that. Well, and she said, pattern recognition. And he's like, I'm not talking about that. I want a standard. Okay, so we're in hour 5. I think defense started to rebut in hour 4. Um, but now she finally got her revenge, which is they went through the 3 studies that she cited. That's she said made up her opinion as to its dog bites and not something else. And he says, are there many citations? And she's like, yes. And I'm, uh-huh. And then he said, um, so do you think it directly correlates what you said? Yes. Oh, she just said, it kind of, without saying directly, I know what I'm talking about. But for the first 2 hours. I was like, are you kidding me with this guy? Ugh. You could tell with her tone and language, she wanted to say something else, but she remained professional. I would have tried to remain professional as well. However, my emotions might have gotten the best of me, and I would have said, "Look, man, um, I know what I'm talking about here. You know, I'm sorry that there's no standard, but I have 30 years experience, so back off." But I think I not definite, but I'm about 90% or more sure that they're gonna allow her to testify in the retrial. So I'm happy about that because you can't really poke holes in what she said. Now, if she was wishy washy or she didn't seem like she knew what she was doing, that would be a different situation, but it's not. So, um, yeah. And it kind of became redundant, which is why I quit watching it because I was like, okay, they're proving they're proving that she studied the evidence, and they're proving that she knows what she's talking about, which I already knew, but it's nice to get confirmation. And of course, with this judge, also the other reason I didn't stick around is I know that she doesn't ever give decisions the same day. She'll say, I'm gonna ponder that. And as I've said before, they got about 3 months. So I guess technically she doesn't have to make any decisions today, but it would be nice, you know. So that's it for the Daubert hearing. But like I said, we got a little less than 3 months to wait. Which on the one hand, I understand because there was talk about the date of the new trial, and they said they didn't want it to be on January something. I forget the date, but it was like 28 or 29 because that would have been the same exact day that it happened on whatever year. So they didn't want it to be exactly that date. But then again, I don't think they had to wait 3 months or 2 months after that. But I don't run the court. So all right. Bye guys.